We're going to the academic one in Central. No, what's it called? It's in San Diego. It's where Harvard and all that is. It's
Okay,
that one.
Masters, I think, yeah.
Masters, yeah. We're going to that one, and so we're pretty much following your script. Okay.
Nice.
We don't.
That's awesome. Awesome. I mean, that's great. What immediately comes to some concern, which is not your fault, is my videos are for the, a broad range. So it's not to say that what I've said to you is wrong, not by any means. It hopefully is correct. But since I don't know you, I may suggest something different. I may have also suggested the same thing. So in that way, it's, I'm happy that I've been helpful by any stretch. The main question you had talked about already was you're coming to the United States, which we'll talk about in a minute. Today's call is really mainly about your son and for me to get to know him a little bit. So I want to kind of go over the agenda for today. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's your call. It's your show.
Thank you. So there's kind of 3 things that we have to achieve today, particularly with you and your son. I want to ask your son, how do I pronounce your first name? Ashton. Okay. Ashton, there's 3 goals today. 1, I appreciate that you've been watching my videos. So are we the right fit? That's number 1. Number 2, do you want to work with me? And number 3, can I scare you away so you quit? Then we don't have to do any of this stuff and you can relax. Now, maybe it's unlikely, but I want to see what I can do. So in saying that, I have a couple questions for you to begin with. Your father's kind of briefed me on quite a bit. I saw your video, which we'll talk about in a minute. But my first question to you is, right now, how many phone calls have you had so far with college coaches? Okay, 0 so far. Now, if I said to you, have any schools emailed you about coming on a visit aside from camp? So I'm talking more specifically like, coming to watch a game or coming to meet the coaches or anything like that.
Just the one in Florida Pacific. They did a genuine one. We're getting hundreds, that, with the robots and all that, all that stuff. We got one genuine one just to go to a camp, but no games because we've only been we went to Raleigh, North Carolina for a showcase, and we went to Phoenix, and that's all we've done. And it's really hard to be seen that way. So we used your template, your system for the emails, like genuine and all that, and got some. We do have it. So to full disclosure, we signed up way before you with Athletes USA. They're talking to some people and stuff like that, and that's how Serpone talked to them and stuff like that, and that's how we evolved over there. But that's really maybe 1 or 2, but nothing, not meeting your definition. No, it's not been, because we're just starting the journey. And I think as soon as you say we're Canada and we play in a PDP Canada League, I guess it doesn't get to the Cornell. We've been speaking with Cornell, one of the coaches from Cornell. And they're the ones who invited us to go to the Masters.
Got it. Okay. Super helpful. Now, if I said to your son, and you're not wrong with what you're touching on, if I said to your son, why do you want to play college soccer? Why are you so passionate about this? What would you say?
I would say I went to the final, and that was really fun. Like, the players looked like they're having a really good time, and also really want to get a good education while still playing the sport I love. You
went to the NCAA final?
Yeah, it's both semis.
Oh, that's epic. Awesome.
Marshall and Vermont. And man, Zev, that was like, we've never experienced, like, we're hockey, right? We've never experienced that. I think that was inspiring. That was like, it was amazing. It was during the Raleigh, North Carolina showcase.
Yep. And
then we played the team called Elite 11. So they take their top kind of 15 players in Canada and make a team and they go. And then we get to play in the top division. So, like, I know, Zev, you don't know much, but we went about soccer in Canada maybe, but we went and played in Phoenix in the top level because we won the Umbro Cup in Toronto. We played Barca's MLS Next team, lost 2-1. We played Anaheim. There's some decent soccer in Canada. We're not exposed enough, Zev. Like,
yes. And what you're saying there is really key there, which is we're not exposed enough. And you're saying, I mean, you wouldn't know, but I played in Edmonton in the NASL once upon a time. Yeah, I saw that. That's why I saw that. And so the reason I bring that up is I know Canadian soccer is actually very good. And you could look at the history of players who have gone on to the highest level and reference that as well. And college coaches know actually as well that there are plenty of Canadians who are good at soccer. As you said, the key word there, which is exposure. So to that end, I guess I would ask your son, what is it that you think you need the most help with?
Probably exposure. Like I don't really know how to get that. And I also don't know like where the best option is to go for exposure.
Okay, that's helpful. Now, your father, would you say something similar?
Yeah, I think I think the problem we did wrong, Zev, is that we didn't have someone like you to narrow our search, and we've been accepted by IMG. I can name RPS Academy. We've been accepted by every academy you can think of, and for different reasons, Zev, and you know that. For a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
Now it's a mess. Now it's like, we got to decide next week, Zev. Like, we're going to Lake Placid on Saturday, and we're going to Shutuck on Wednesday, and I have to pay $5,000. I got to choose, man. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, we're at that level now. So, sorry,
Yeah.
I mean to show that we're vulnerable with you right now. We're being open.
No, I need that. Otherwise, I don't know if I can help you. So I appreciate that you're willing to be so vulnerable. It's also to say, in the situation you're in, this is one decision and a big one, so we need to talk about it. But this doesn't end. You know, that's why I'm trying to make you quit, because this just goes on and on and on every single time, over and over and over again. So I guess, yeah, go ahead.
This full-time job.
Yes, full-time job. And so what we do here, or as College Soccer Guy, it's not rocket science. Like, you've done a good job. And what it becomes eventually is, are you nervous if you're making the wrong decision, which can be its own headspace? And the other piece of it is, do you have the time and the means to go over everything? That's kind of my job, is I've already kind of done to know which ways we should go up the mountain to Mount Everest, and which ways are scarier than others, or which ones will end up in an avalanche. So with that in mind, I guess I want to ask your father, in this process, I've played pro myself, and I've played college, like, you know. One of the things I learned the hard way was that education is really important, and I made very little money as a pro, and I didn't know where my life was heading. Luckily, I got my master's, and thank goodness I went to college. So I guess I would ask you, would you agree with me that academics come first as we're looking for the right college soccer team for your son?
It does. And so it's kind of a difficult question, because we own multiple businesses, and Ashton right now, he's talked about coming in the business. He wants to live the same lifestyle we have.
Mm-hmm.
Zev, you know, when you see your parents successful, you want that too. And they don't realize, being an employee, you don't have that lifestyle.
Yes.
But I think he's talking right now, he's good in math and science, but he likes business. And we talk about schools, and he goes, Dad, I'll go wherever. Like, he goes, I know everybody says, oh, I'm going to UCLA or Penn State, and Ashton, I know what I answer for you, but he's like, if I can go to a good program and play soccer and get a great education, it doesn't matter if it's in New Hampshire, Florida. So I think that's a positive. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
Yeah, good question and good thought. Well, I will say the immediate answer is extremely positive, because you guys already, when I think about families that I'd like to work with, is I say to myself, you know, are they going to murder their child if they don't go to Duke? And I don't really like working with those families, because they miss the point, which is mainly, hey, it's about finding the place where your son is happy. And so of course, I get nervous about such things. So that makes me happy. On the flip side of it being difficult is when you are so open-minded, which is healthy, within a structure, is it feels like there's endless possibilities, and that becomes overwhelming. So how do we find the balance between, hey, look, you're a good enough player for this type of openness, we don't need to be here. On the flip side, you know, if I suggest something that you may have not otherwise thought of, are you open to listening to me? And with your answer, I go, yeah, okay, this family, if I said to them, this is a great school they've never heard of, you should at least have a conversation with the coach, I know you probably would, which for me, is that fair to say?
Oh,
okay.
All the places we're going.
Yeah.
We probably spent 30 grand traveling just to places.
Totally. And that's kind of, really well said. So that's the dilemma, but finding the balance. So with that in mind, what I'd like to do is I want to just briefly touch on this, and we can go into more detail in a minute, but I know you're moving to the United States. Obviously, this is the discussion that we need more detail for, but just to start there for a second, when would that happen? Say theoretically, how soon would that occur?
We can't go till August.
Okay, so that would be the soonest, though.
That's the soonest. I mean, Europe, they wanted him last week.
Sure.
But no, it's August 15th is for shut up because we narrowed it down, and this is the stuff that I didn't think you would work with us because we're international, Zev, and that's why I said that I figured I said, no, I have to try one more time. If he knows we're in the US, it's a better fit for you. I thought, and I could be wrong. But we kind of narrowed it down because IMG's there, but that's 130 grand, Zev. I mean, and I know it's great, but man, so I don't know.
No, that's super helpful. So I will tell you that like 2 or 3 years ago, I really worked with a very seldom amount of internationals, mainly because I'm an American and I'm not international. And I know there's some complications. Canadians are a bit different, but then kind of like you, a family said like, Zev, I think you're good at what you do. I'll take the risk with you kind of thing. And then I've gotten pretty good at it since then. So the answer is we work with internationals. That's how you were eventually able to book a call because we have a section for internationals. The other piece of it though is international can mean many things. We have Americans that live abroad. They still count as internationals in my book. In my book, for college is a little different. There's you guys who are going to live in America, but you're not American, which is technically still an international. So there's different facets of it. But the reason I needed to know that is, and I wanted to confirm this too. If you, let's just pretend we choose August and we're going to come here and we'll go into detail about that. When, just to confirm, when will you graduate from high school? What is your grad year, Ashton?
2027.
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page. Okay, so with that in mind, I kind of want to give a diagnosis of your situation. Is that okay? So you had already talked about, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, we just want some truth.
Yes, okay.
People are full of crap.
Yes, it's a frustrating process. And I am in a privileged position in that I was given the full of crap, so I don't want to give it back to anybody. And that also, to your guys' point, we have people we work with. And so I don't have to sugarcoat anything. Not that I really did at the beginning, but for your businessman, maybe I could have, and I chose not to, and it worked. So that's great. So here's the first thing I will say. In your world, we put things in 3 categories. Normally I put it in 2. If you're an American, I say your video means this, but it looks like this. And your guys, I go, your situation means this, your video looks like this, and this is what your video means to college coaches. So your situation is this. To your point of getting advice to come to the United States, unless you're playing for the Torontos, or I know PDP. I know the clubs, like, as I mentioned, because I was partially playing in Canada pretty often and against Canadian teams. I know the level, and it's very good. So that part, I'm actually very less concerned about. It's exposure. That is the big of our math equation. And Ashton, you said you're good at math. It's X plus X equals Y in this case. Getting to Y is difficult because Y is exposure. We need to know what equals exposure. So in saying that, you guys are coming to the United States one way or another, which I can tell you whether you work with me or not is helpful. So there's that part kind of, I'm going to put that aside for a second. Now you're coming to the United States. Now you're just competing with everybody here and everyone in Canada. And if you guys obviously saw the semifinals, Marshall is 99.9% international. They have no Americans on their team. So all we're doing is trading one apple for another, which brings us to IMG. One of the things with IMG that I've been surprised by is I have like 15 students from IMG. Why would IMG need me? That makes no sense. They should have what I do on clockwork. It should be a no-brainer because of what you're doing there. And it's partially because I like details of such things. And also IMG have an attitude of we're IMG, so the kids will get recruited. And what we find is some of the best kids, absolutely, they do get recruited. But they don't get recruited necessarily to Vermont or Marshall. They still play college soccer, but maybe not to the best of the best. So the kids that we work from IMG, between the IMG and this, yes, Shattuck, I know really well. I'm from the Midwest, or I played college in the Midwest. So Shattuck, we had a bunch of kids from there. All of that is to say this. Here's my issue now. I'm going to treat you more like an American. Your video in 2 categories. Category A is what level could you potentially play? Category B is what does it look like to college coaches? The video is way too long. It's not formatted correctly. And all of that is a problem. And you don't have enough video because it's all in one, which you actually do have enough, but it's not formatted correctly for college coaches. So you cannot send that, and I know you have already, to college coaches and get the feedback you deserve to get. Well, now I'm talking about deserve. You're definitely top academic D3 soccer player, for sure. That is obvious through the video. When it comes to Division I, that comes back to exposure, time under exposure. If you're going to play at Shattuck, or we'll just keep it simple, say Shattuck or a version of them, that comes down to what I like to do is be a team. You know, it takes a village to achieve our goals. They're going to tell you, or any organization will say, we're going to help you get recruited. And their record will be phenomenal. Like they've helped lots of kids play college soccer. If you feel comfortable in August, you go to the school and you go, yep, they're going to take care of me. I feel really good. Then you don't really need me. My always concern is their best interest is for a group. You know, they've got 22 kids. They got to serve them. I don't care about the group. I only care about you. And that's the privileged position I get to be in. So when I was looking at your video, one of the things that struck me initially, which is why I asked you when you graduate, is you don't look like a sophomore based off your build and your movement. You look like a junior to me. And that's kind of what college coaches determine as good and bad. We do need to zoom in a couple times, but like I watched the whole 10 minutes worth. You have a couple clips in here like that are way better. For example, like the technique is really good, that are way better than the first clips in here. So like coaches are not going to, they're going to miss all of this. And there's plenty of soccer there. That's fantastic. Then I was like, okay, I like his video and whatnot. I'm very curious. Let me go find out about some more about you. And as we've got like these full game videos, they're not going to really watch. These are too long. This cut up into every touches. That's great. This being in every touch is great. So there's a lot of video, but it's not like put in a category where I'm like, this has meaning. And on top of that, when you come to the States, we have to capitalize on it. In a self-interview, you speak perfect English. All those things matter because they're just going to assume you are, you know, are an international. That's just what they do. So in saying all that, my diagnosis is you can definitely play college soccer. You're more than capable. You're putting in the right effort now. There's part of me that would even say to you, like, with or without me, I think you'll play college soccer. The real question is, will you play college soccer at a school you love? That is the dilemma I think we're more so facing. Does that make sense, Ashton?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that in mind, your father, I think, and you have already seen the video of kind of like the email system we have already. Did you guys see that? And kind of what we do on a day-to-day. The one thing I do want to ask you, and this is my attempt to scare you away and kind of make you quit, is when we're doing this, one of the parts that can be, I don't know if the right word is difficult, but important in your situation is what you have kind of around the corner, as well as what that means for kind of the game plan here. So one of the things is video. I do want to go through, like, I've already gone through your YouTube video, but I'd like to like get you a self-interview. We want to have a main video. Then you have a plethora of footage. That's very good. So since you already have it, as opposed to like playing in a game and getting it to me, I already have a bunch of it. I'd like to use it in a better way, kind of like a weapon. Like right now, it's like a little tiny bomb, and I can make it into a much bigger bomb. So that would be step one. Step two, you guys are already going to camps. So that's great. Like I would have suggested Masters for you. So great, you're going to Masters. But going to Masters and not contacting them before and then talking to them there and then following up afterwards is a waste of money. Like it completely defeats the purpose. The only reason you go to Masters, in your case especially, is to either have them come to your showcase, let them know that you're going to come to America and go to school here, or go to one of their individual camps. And you need the building blocks. Let's say you go to Masters and then you go to their next camp and they don't remember you from Masters. All you've done is started from one again. Does that make sense? Yeah. And we don't want that. If we paid all this money and effort, we may as well have this be number 2. Because by number 4, you have the right to ask them, do you want me or do you not? But you don't get to earn that until around 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So with saying that, the next thing is this. When we're working in all this, in this regards, one of the things that's really important to me, probably the most important, is I really want you to find a coach you love. I had an amazing college coach. He changed my life. I just had this amazing experience. I was the captain and I just had a great time. My brother was freaking miserable and, wanted to quit soccer, and that was awfully depressing, obviously. So yeah. I guess what I want to say is from your son's perspective, is this the type of help you're looking for, where you want some help with editing the videos, you want to know what to say to the teams and how to respond, and ultimately we want to find the right coach for us?
So Zev, I have my own deal.
Yes.
So like the stuff that you just saw is old. Like since Ashton's been turning it on, he's gotten 3-4 goals. Like beauty's like phenomenal.
Excellent. Oh, that's huge.
Because he played right back in attacking mid. So
like Zinchenko, but right-footed.
Yeah, that's what So all the things you just said help with the video. So we have three ID camps. We're going to Future 500. Because we're going to PPA PPA 100. Then 5 days later, we're going to be there in Pennsylvania, and we're going to go to Future 500, and then we're going to go to the Masters. Those are the 3 we're doing. Because that for us, it's a fortune, man, to go to these places from where we are. Like, this weekend, like
I'm trying to make you quit. I'm doing my best over here.
No. And so we already have 3 set up, and it's based on I know you're generic. You're trying to do a generic but I still believe in what you're saying, and I know you mean it. You're not just saying it. And maybe it wouldn't fit for Ashton if he was a junior or senior. We don't understand all those things you guys talk about. Sophomore, we don't talk like that here. We talk, we're in grade 10. But, we talk backwards too. I was just wondering, so no, everything you just said is exactly what I want help with. Like, we were going to do, if we didn't talk to you, I was going to do all the emails with Ashton before for the camps, after the camps follow-ups. But I feel like I'm just doing it, and Ashton and I are just doing it just to do it, with no substance and no plan. I'm just doing it, clicking send, and then you're like, we did it. Let's see what happens. And it takes hours and hours, and I don't think that's I don't think it's working the right way, because I'm probably saying the wrong things too. Anyways, go ahead.
Sorry, no, the only reason I was interrupting was like the reason I asked how many phone calls you've had is with your grades and your level, the Division III schools should be talking to you. You have June 15th is 3 months away when the doors open for everybody in every category. In my dream world, which I'd like to get done, in the next 2 to 3 months, because we're going to go to the camps, they get to see his face and get to meet him as a person. And then by the time June 15th hits, he's already had a phone call or 2. So when a Division I school reaches out and says, how's the process going, which they will do, that's like their second question after what's your name, because they want to know if you're good, right? And they'll just reference, have you spoken to any other coaches? I want them to be able to go, yeah, I've already spoken to Case Western, Carnegie Mellon, or these top academic D3s, because they're the best at soccer who could have been talking to you for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In saying that part is great. So one of the things we talked about already was kind of like the different models we have. And the reason I didn't know when you emailed me, like, as an international, but you're living in America, how does it work? I have a model that I think would be better for us based on the fact that actually you guys we'll call you go-getters. Like, if you do what I say, you'll understand it. And then you won't necessarily need hand-holding in the same way in 2 years from now, because you will have listened to what I'm telling you. So there's a couple models like we talked about, and you guys saw pieces of it. The first model is a white glove model, which is where, particularly for internationals, we basically do everything for you. We create the email system. You sit there. We tell you what camps to go to, and you're kind of our puppet. And we get to control everything about you, and you have to agree to everything we say, basically, and go, if I say go to this camp, you have to go. If I say get on this phone call, you have to get on the phone call, and we control you. Now, we spend the first couple months basically getting to know how you would talk and communicate, but we are you. Now, based on what you told me, I don't think this is necessary, and I don't think this is a good model for you. In fact, I would strongly not recommend it. You're not from Dubai who knows nothing about soccer, who just wants it to be done for you. You want to be part of the process. So with that model, this one, which is what we do for our American kids, this one is better because this is the American model. You guys are basically American. And in this model, the reason I'm particularly enticed by it is you guys have already done a lot. So one of the things I mentioned is I need to do an audit. You've already sent a bunch of emails. I don't know exactly how you said it, what you said. And because you have played like ECNL here before, because you know America, if you don't phrase those things often enough, and you're still as a Canadian, it really hurts us on the communication end, which I'm not saying you haven't. All I'm asking is like an auditor. I want to do an audit and go like, what did you say? How did you say it? Let's find out where we need to follow up with. You said you have better videos. So part of me goes, let me use the good video you have, but let's enter in new video. And that old video is not a waste. You got better at soccer. You learned how to film, and all of that was helpful. So now when people say to me, like, when should we start the process? If they are where you are, I go, you can start right now. But if if they don't even have a video yet and they don't have a club team and they haven't, then I go like, if you start where you are, like at your age, I go, you're super late. You missed the boat. The best time to start is this time going into the summer, because it's right when Division I's get to talk to you. It's right when the D3s have already can talk to you freely. And this is kind of the momentum moment. And then after the summer, which is junior year or 11th grade in Canadian words, that's when things are late, because then you're like, well, this kid has already gotten an offer. That's when that happens on June 15th. That's when all of a sudden people feel uncomfortable with their peers, because they're like, well, how come he got an offer already? It all happened around the June 15th date, because that's when the doors opened. Does that make sense?
So I'm wondering, like, it makes me nervous. I feel like we're a little late.
The short answer and I'm an aggressive timeliner. Like you could go ask Shattuck or anyone else and they'd be like, no, you're not late. And the truth is, what is that even? The reason it frustrates me, you're not late. For who? You want to go to Gloucester University? Yeah, you can start in 2 years from now. Do you want to go to Duke? Yes, you're late. Then you're late. That's how the time frame works. So yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I want her that.
No, good, Ashton.
This after about this, and she'll want to know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell her it's now to the end of summer, like even less than that. We got to attack.
Yeah, and the other thing that I tell people too is we don't all start the horse race at the same time. I've got kids who are 10 years old whose parents are that aggressive in their headspace going, I want my kid to go to an Ivy League school. What do I have to do for soccer? So you're competing with a 10-year-old, like not really, but kind of. That's just the Americans especially have this personality that are, screw everybody else. How do I just help myself? And I lived in Sweden for a long time, which is a lot more Canadian. A lot of Canadians happen to live in Sweden for their relationships and their culture. Your cultures are much nicer, frankly. They're like, we want you to do well. We want you to do well. Americans are the total opposite. They just don't care about anyone else, as we can see in the current environment. So in saying that, from your son's perspective, I want to ask you, like, have I managed to scare you away from all of this work?
Not really. I kind of expected that.
Okay. All right. So this is my kind of last attempt to do so. When we work with students like your son, this is what it looks like. And because your father's, frankly, a lovely person to speak to, but also he's involved and he wants to help. And as you mentioned, your business, without going into too much detail, I played college soccer, then I played pro soccer. And similar to your father, my parents are filmmakers and they have a lifestyle that's fun, meaning they get to travel and they choose their own schedule. Very stressful, but fun. And I was on track to basically be a U12 coach because I had my communications degree, which is frankly nothing, and played soccer. Luckily, along this process, my brother started his own business and kind of taught me what that meant. And I loved making videos, which was a fluke, about college soccer, which then led to me eventually finding you. My point is to say for your son, when we work with our students, you are the product. You are the CEO. You are the finance. Your father's the investor. I am your marketing manager. This is a business, and we need people to see you. So the way we do this is this. You're going to get a coach plus me. Now, your Zoom meetings are going to be with this coach. In your case, we're going to have you work with this particular coach who specializes with Canadian-esque. Obviously, you'll be American when you move here. But having played in Canada, this coach has committed more kids from Canada than I have. And he was a former student of mine. And then since then, he's then started to work with me. And then now he's full-time with me. So when I say you don't get to speak to me over Zoom, it's not that I don't want to. I would prefer to, but I have a lot of work to do with you. One of the things is I'm going to edit all your videos. I have to make sure your list of schools. I look up the camps. You guys don't know this yet, but there's this new MLS Next 2 thing, or maybe you have heard about it. So I talked to Luis Robles, who is the head of basically the whole thing. And then college coaches message me and say, I need this position. I need this. What do you have? So everything you hear from your coach basically comes from me, but I'm do it at 2 a.m. when I want to, where your coach will be awake during your hours and be able to talk to you whenever you want. And you can message me as much as you want, and I will message you back within 24 hours. But your Zoom meetings are with your coach. Then we want to edit your videos. We do want to go through game review. One of the things I love doing is I'm going to be watching a bunch of your game anyways. So I'm like, if I'm going to be watching your game, there's some feedback to give you as a right back attacking center mid. And at the highest level, I could see you in both roles, probably as a right back, I think at the highest level. Do you have a preferred position that you like the most?
I understand that I'm better at right back, but I like center mid more. But I understand I get more opportunity as a right back.
Yeah. So
we've been told it by several coaches from like Cone told us that like every school, every place we went to, they basically said he can use his midfield skills as a right back, and that was the big because he's always going forward because that's just who he is.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids that we're playing NFC North Carolina's team, one of the top ECNL teams, and he just continuously goes forward, and that's what they loved. That's his first game playing right back ever.
Wow.
Right there.
Wow. Yeah. So one thing I would say is because I can see because you so naturally came inside. And I was like, he must be a midfielder because the next thing is a right back. Unless the coach tells you to invert, which a couple colleges do that, but not very many, is after you pass this, depending on the coach you have and the college we're talking to, instead of this, you should be breaking a line and you should be standing here. Because when this kid turns, he could have pinged you a ball here. and then you would have all of this space. Instead, you're still like if you were standing here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know what happened that game, Zev? The coach Jazz, he told Ashton to stay back the whole game.
There you go. So that's okay. And my only point is to say you have to do what your coach says. But since I'm going to be watching all your video anyways, what I'll do is I'm going to talk to your coach and say, if you are going to play right back, there are going to be coaches who are going to tell you, I need more footage of you doing overlap. They're going to tell us. Then we're going to say to you, when is the time? Because they're not going to teach you when to do the overlap. They're just going to want it. So then we're going to go through with you and go, this is the timing in which to do the overlap. So you look good. And then your coach, if he would sit there and do that with you, great. But most of them don't because they're busy. And then we want to do that because it's important. It's a part of this process, which is then to say, you're going to get a Google Drive, which I think you guys saw, so we can kind of keep track of all your videos and your list of schools and everything your dad has kind of already touched on and which schools we've emailed. And to your point, you kind of talked about how like you're emailing for the sake of emailing. I felt that way at the very beginning as well, like 100%. And then what I decided to do, so I could feel some type of traction, kind of reminds me of like a tire, so you actually grab the road, is what we started to do was we created this little Excel sheet in addition to the AI, so we could see, was it a genuine response? What ranking do we give the genuine response? Out of 1 to 10, was it we need your position, or was it I liked your video? And then which camps do we go to because of it? And by having this measurement constantly, then we kind of feel like, oh, I'm actually doing something when I write the emails. So we're going to have this Google Drive.
Am I doing this or you guys are doing this?
Good question. This is something we do together in the short words, but the answer is we do it. So when you say, do you do it? Your son and I are going to fill out the Excel sheet together. That's a team effort. So if, let's say we get an email, let's say we send out 100 emails, which in the course of this, we will do. The first 10, I'm going to say to Ashton, this is how you do this. I expect him by email 30 that he doesn't need me to say it again, that he can click the button. And you guys will be able to do that. And then finally is, you know, scholarship is important for you guys for a couple of reasons. One, everybody wants money. Who doesn't want money? But the other thing is, for us, especially as an international, coaches like internationals. Sometimes they're older, more mature. They're from another country where soccer can often be more popular. But the big thing is you don't know if the coach loves you unless they put money in your face to some degree, right? They could tell you're going to start as a freshman, but then you say, well, then what's my compensation? And they go, you know, you have to earn your way. Now all of a sudden that's a contradictory statement. So one of the reasons we like scholarship is for the message it sends. Now, academically, most people like, there's a ton of money in athletics, which you guys know. And this is the #1 coach at Florida, and he kind of talks about it. So I'm just going to play it too. Sorry. Now, that coach coaches like one of the best teams on the girls' side. The reason he brings that up is women especially. There's more money in women's soccer than men. And his whole thing is, look, you're not going to get the money. But there is money available, and that tends to be from the academics. So like this kid played Division III and got $300,000. This student, you know, was a Division III, got $100,000. The money is in if they get you admitted. If you get admitted into the school because of soccer, then they can go to the admissions and say, we want money. And then they'll go to the sports director or the athletic director or the coach and say, this is how much money they're going to get academically. Would you like to match it athletically? And they'll go, we'll match it with 10K. Now you're on a 50K scholarship instead of a 30K scholarship. And that's kind of how the scholarship works. And then so far, what you guys saw, 98% of our students have received a minimum of 60, upwards of 300, you could say. The only issue I will say, and why it's not 100, is if tomorrow, Ashton, you get accepted to Stanford or Harvard academically, and you're not the player athletically, I will tell you to go to school and forget soccer. Now, naturally, we want the problem to be both, you know, where you have the opportunity to play at Harvard or maybe walk or be a part of their team, as well as play college soccer. I want you to have both problems. But that's why it's not like not every kid. And to your other question, I think you brought up was some kids quit along this journey, which is why if you're going to work with me, I'd like your athlete, Mr. Ashton, to know you really want this, which brings me to kind of my final question for your son. I don't work with that many students. International students, we work with about 6, just because it's a little bit more work for us and the videos. And once you come to America, you're not going to be playing for the traditional club team. So it's still work for me. And every person's going to say, but you're Canadian. Do you have the budget? They're all going to bother you with that. It's annoying, but it's just what's going to happen. So I want to ask you, why do you think you're the right fit to work with me?
I think I have the right mindset for this stuff. I don't really give up easily. I'll keep pushing for it. And if it's something I really want, I'll keep doing it. And I do really want this. So, and I feel like you'd help me a lot.
I love that answer. Now, you're very complimentary to me, which is exactly what you're going to do for a college coach one day, like the same thing. My question is really a little bit more, can you give me an example in your life? You know, you're telling me you're committed, and I do believe you. Can you give me an example in your life where you went through something difficult, whether it be in school, soccer, or your own personal life, where you thought it was really difficult, but you didn't give up? And the reason I'm having you talk about this is when we do talk to college coaches, they're going to want a version of this elevator pitch, and it will be good practice. So I'm curious how you'll start with, is there something in your life where you found it to be really difficult, but you didn't quit? So I know when coaches tell you you're too early, when they tell you you're too late, when they tell you you're good, when they tell you you're bad, you're not going to give up.
When I was 8 to 11, I had 3 knee surgeries, and I was out from playing soccer for like 4 to 5 years. And at one point on the third one where I was really struggling, but I kept going, and now I have a lot of opportunities.
So he was in a wheelchair for a while, and then he just but nothing. It's not ACL stuff. It's all bone issues, but it's fully healed now. But he was out for 4 years, and then he's been back for 2 years, and he's grown in 2 years. He's done pretty good, Zev, to get back to playing the top level in our city.
Yeah.
He's doing really great. So he has a great story.
Oh my gosh, I was going to ask your father next.
Yeah.
If you had a better story than that, but I don't think you'll beat that. And one of the reasons I say that is the hardest 2 things in this process are not playing minutes or getting injured. And I've had many of them myself. And the fact that you've overcome that at such a young age is even something we want to tell coaches, especially now that you're fully fit. That's awesome. That's really cool. So with that in mind, let me ask your father, let's say I said to you, right, let's get started tomorrow. We have some things to do. What questions might you have for me?
Well, I think we're going to talk about it, but I think I'm confident that we're going to move forward. Like, you feeling good? Yeah. And well, Zev, we've been with you for over a year. So, man, this is more a formality for us. And I'm going to talk to my wife, but we know what we need to do. We know we need your help. I think the biggest takeaway from today is, I guess, like, where do we play? Like, and it's not your job to tell us, but we are going to go with you. So you're going to tell me how to do that next. But
yeah, for sure.
I think from us right now is where do you want us to go? Because you're working with us, you're going to help Ashton the next few years here. Where do you want him to go, man? Because for me, it's writing a check to them. And then it's Ashton's job and your job to get, like, not your job, but guiding Ashton, but it's his job. Sure. I just don't know. We don't know. Like,
let me just ask you briefly, we're going to go into more details, but I'm going to make a video right now to brief your coach as well as to take some notes that I do after these meetings. Can you just tell me what are the options on the table as of this moment?
All of them.
So all of them as in IMG, Shattuck, who else?
BlackRock.
BlackRock.
We're going to both this weekend. Like I said, go to BlackRock Saturday, Shattuck, RPS in Florida, Villarreal in Erie, Pennsylvania offered. They all offered money too. Every one of them is giving Ashton money.
Cool.
Like I said, FC Cologne, the Bayern Global. We've been getting pushed a lot to go to Europe because a lot of scholarships now are coming out of Europe. So we can go there too. If you said, you know what, Sean, if you get a chance to play for Bayern Global, go for it because you're still with us, right?
Yeah. So that's very helpful. Let me.
That's not a good list. Is that all? Is there anything else? Like that? That's why. Can you see how we're like, what the hell?
For sure. No. This is a what the hell moment for sure. Now, I love that you messaged them because that's what I would have told you to do. My next brief question is, you talked about, we didn't go over it deeply, but you mentioned something coming up where you have to maybe make a deposit. What is the deadline for these places-ish?
April 10th is a deadline for pretty much, like,
okay.
You have to shoot now, right? That's they lock you in.
Okay, cool. So here's what I will say. We'll go over basically what I'd like to do is I need to read over the emails that you've kind of had with these people. I can tell you right now, you're not going abroad. That's not happening.
Okay.
If we go abroad at some point, it has to be under tremendous circumstances where a college coach says, here's an offer, now go abroad. Otherwise, that's not happening.
Okay.
That kind of brings us down to lesser options already, which is great. The next thing I have to be honest is not going to be as much about the program as it's going to be about what the coaches told us, because they're going to be the biggest influence on us. These are all like, if this is a 9, this is a 9.2. This is a 9.4. They're all very close in proximity. Now it's much more about who's going to be on our back during this process. And also, I'd like to know from what they've told you, although we have a couple kids at all those places, so I'm pretty familiar with their schedule, but if they're telling your age group something different, because we only work with, like, I won't really be able to work with another right back of your son's age group, is, if they've told you something about some other event that they're talking about. So my follow-up point is this: we're going to give you a list of questions to ask all of them, so we can all as a family come to a decision that we're happy with, because we do need to do that. And then this weekend, where are you going again?
We're going to Black Rock on Saturday because we got and then Shattuck on Wednesday.
Okay, so awesome. I'm just writing that down. So here's what I would all say. This is just like college. So this is a great, fantastic practice, because this is no different. It's literally the same. We're going to give you a list of questions to ask everybody because they're important. And then if I said to you, you should totally go to Black Rock, which like on paper might be arguably the answer. But your son looks at it and doesn't enjoy it. And because Black Rock have a USL2 team, which is really helpful. Anyways, my point is to say that I need you, Mr. Ashton, to find out, this is kind of what stage happens in college. Which coach do you like or get the best feeling from? Which brings me to, will you get to watch any of the coaches coach?
Well, they've sent games. Like the issue I have with Blackwell's a little bit, they carry 26 players, whereas St. Mary's, like Shattuck, carries like 16, 18.
Yeah.
And they have told us, like, because I'm not aggressive, but I'd say I peel the layer back more. I keep asking questions like you do. Like, you keep asking. And I've said, how does this work? Like, and we approached them. They didn't approach us.
Totally.
But when they saw Ashton right away, like Black Rock, which is they do really well. They're very successful. You did a great assessment of them in your video of the 5 schools. They are super successful getting kids because they have so many schools in the area, and they do their own big combine. And so they were really, like, we didn't have to go down and try it or nothing. We got a contract right away.
Yeah.
Whereas Shattuck is saying, they said off the record, pay for them to come. They're going to take them. Like, they're taking them because they're not going to make me pay for all this for no reason. And then we're going to get the agreement, if that makes sense. So it's really coming down to those two, just because my wife really likes the academics.
Yes, and academics are also super duper important for us. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, this is all fantastic. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to make some notes. I want you to talk to your wife and your family and everything else like that. From my perspective, I'm going to send over the link in terms of the agreement and everything. Basically, the agreement says this, Ashton: if you don't show up to meetings, because you have to meet with us every week, it's kind of mandatory, then you're fired. And we no longer work with you. We are an annual service. So we're with you from now, March 17th, until April 17th of next year. Typically, for 99% of our students, they go, thank you, Zev, this is what we needed. We're happy, and you go on your merry way. Maybe in the future, you need to have one talk with us because you have multiple offers or whatever. We make an a la carte, like $50, so we can just talk to you. It's not ever the same thing again. And then finally, with you, Ashton, is when we set up the initial call with you, we're going to ask you to film a self-interview, which we need for your highlight video. So if you can get that to us within the first 2 weeks, it just makes our life a lot easier for the camps coming up.
Yeah, he just did some for somebody. I think he had to do one for Bayern.
Nice. Okay, cool. That would be excellent. Ashton, one of the things that your father brought up, obviously, was that this takes a lot of commitment and everything else. Is this something that you want in terms of working with me? Is this the type of, I would say, aggressive nature that you're looking for? Take away the money and everything aside. Like, is this something you can dedicate an hour a week to?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed to hear. I'm going to send everything over. If you have any other questions, you can email me. And then the only thing I would say is if I don't hear from you in 24 hours, let me know, only because I can only work with so many kids.
Zev, you already have access to all our stuff.
Yeah, I do.
So because I gave you full access.
Yeah. When
your Google Drive asks give access, I give it to Zev. So you can see all our emails and everything.
Oh, okay, perfect. Did you? Oh, yeah, that I have. I have that already. Yeah. Perfect.
So you have access to all the files. You already made a school list for us. You already did. Like Diego now, like I think not Diego. I didn't really talk to you. I talked to Diego once, but it was more you that I was talking to. Like I remember emailing you from Spain. I don't know if you remember that. I was sending emails to you from Spain when he was playing with Castellón there. Like that was last summer.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you for, and I sent you the video. You said that's pretty good. Like and that team's amazing. Like they played Barca, like La Masia, like that when we were there. Like, and he actually got to play with them. Like, how cool is that?
Incredible.
And so, yeah, so you do have all access to everything anyways. So just look up Action Turcot and so you have access to the folders and
No,
you'll get my email. So be easy on me with the emails.
no problem.
I do the best I can.
Everything we'll do, no, you did, no worries. Everything we're going to do is through this app that we have now. It's a little bit better for communication because you get a lot of emails, I get a lot of emails. It's all going to be through an app where we only communicate kind of through the app, and it's just faster. So that will be better for everybody too.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
No, we're good. Just send me that stuff, and we're good to go. And yeah, I'd like to get. I do agree we're behind the 8 ball a little bit, and you've been very helpful. Like I feel, do you feel better?
Yeah.
You feel like kind of have a better sense. Yeah, like you're a celebrity, buddy. Like
I know that, but I never. It's funny. I did dream of being one as a soccer player. I never thought maybe that it would be in this way. But look, Ashton, we can talk about this later. You know, my dream is one day. It's a little early bout, but let's say we're successful and you enjoy it. You know, you come work for me, or you at least do an internship for me while you go and explore your pro soccer life or whatever it is. And the beauty of the role that I have is, you know, if you do decide one day I get to hire you, is you have to choose your own hours. You train in the morning. You can play soccer. That's why I did it. I was playing pro soccer when I started this. So I want you to one day I want you to have a business one day, and you're going to take one of my students who's in high school, and you're going to go, why don't you intern for me while you're in high school? You know, that's my full circle dream one day, is it goes all the way around. I just need to wait for a while. But yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Well, your dad's an Emmy. Did he win Emmy, your dad?
He did. Yes, they did. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's great. Well, you came from a good place.
Yeah.
I got the email now, so thank you for that. Do you have anything else? You're good?
Awesome, guys. I'll talk to you guys very soon.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Okay, bye now. Take care.
Okay, I know I'm live with all of you. Give me 1 second. I need to make some notes here. Hey, coach. So this is a really awesome case. It's a great kid, great dad, just amazing family. What we need, though, is there's some complications. Nothing bad, but I won't even say complicated. It's gonna require a lot of communication for the first 6 months, and then after that, it will be similar communication, but not as time urgent. So the first thing is they've signed up for Masters. They've signed up for Masters and Future 500, and they mentioned one other camp that they've already signed up for. They've been watching my videos a lot. He's already created like a Google Drive based off of my stuff. So my point is, like, he is very like on it, like almost as if he's not quite a student, but like they've been pretending he's a student for quite some time, which is epic. So because we did a one-time call with them a long time ago, so we already have like their stuff. So we just did like a one-time meeting with them. So I'm actually gonna do this real quick. We have an updated drive already, but so we already have like his Google Drive. We already have it. So I'm going to give you a link to this. So he's already been, like, we met with him ages ago for a one-time meeting. Now they want to work with us full time. Having with that in mind, we've updated a couple things, and I'm going to make things a little bit nicer. Let's just see how, because this is their old document. We have a new one now that's a lot better. This was all 2024. So we've improved the system a lot since then. So we're going to give him a whole new one, but he's been taking notes in this folder for quite some time. So I want you to go through these and just keep track of any notes he has. So I'm going to give you this link. So he's already basically, had one meeting with us ages ago. So we're just going to, I'm going to put in my notes. This is met with us in July of 2024 and did a one-time meeting. Okay, so that was that. Now, the next thing is they joined us in March, and he's a 2027. Now, the next thing that's complicated is not the right word, but kind of, is he has opportunities to go to all of these places. Now, I need to do personally some more research about a couple of these just to double check some things, so I will get back to you. Anything abroad, which is these three, they want him to go abroad. Those are not happening. So really, we're just picking. There's this other one, RPS, that he spoke about. They're okay, but really we're deciding between these two. And he's meeting with BlackRock this Saturday and Shattuck next Wednesday. The biggest thing is questions that he needs to ask them. And the biggest question is you want to say, like, what is this? It's really actually, it's pretty hilarious. Not hilarious is maybe not the right word, but literally you're going to give him. Now, I don't want you to just give him it from the document because we have to customize it a little bit. But one of the things is if we go here to visiting schools, is you don't have to write any of these emails, but these are the frequently asked questions. So like the parents, like these are FAQs. So you can go through these, like how many recruits do you plan on bringing on in my year? This is not right for college, but it's actually the exact same for the high school. So these are questions to ask, you know, how many players do you recruit? How do you see me? I will add here, like, where do you see me fitting into the team? Now transfer this, like, don't like delete a couple of these because he doesn't need to do this. How do you decide who earns a scholarship? You can delete that. How many positions do you have per year? How many recruits do you bring in? How many players do you have on a roster? How many students do you go to school beforehand? So really, I'm going to write them out right now. The questions he really needs to ask is, how does playing time work? Because sometimes it's earned and sometimes it's not. So I actually should, okay, that's true. How does playing time work? How is school and soccer balanced? What is the schedule for the day? Most of these things they probably already know to ask, but these are all good questions. Then the big one is this, because this is specifically for BlackRock. How does your USL2 team help with college coaches? The answer is it's a higher level and there's a bunch of other things, but they should hear the answer to the question, because this is really the biggest difference between BlackRock and Shattuck. Is BlackRock has a roster. BlackRock have a roster of like 26 kids, and Shattuck only have 16 to 18. So you can basically assume on Shattuck he's going to play. The flip side is, if you had to rank the two of them, BlackRock has a better one. If you ask me which one he should do BlackRock, break into the team. It's better when we email. It's just better all around. But the other main question you want to have them ask is, who do we play against? Are we part of MLS Next? Question mark. Are we part of MLS Next or question mark? What showcases do we go to? Do we play other top tier schools? What events do we go to that have the college coaches? Is playing time split evenly during those events? How often do we train? Question mark. And then you would say, if I go to camp, will I be penalized? Like a college soccer camp, penalized. You have to tell them, like, phrase this kindly. These are just the questions. Phrase kindly. So make sure they ask these questions on their 2 visits. So in the Discord, right away, right when they join us, say, here are the list of questions Zev and I put together. Please keep these in mind. I'm excited to work with you. I can't wait to get started. And then we can talk more about these questions in detail. So there's that. Okay, his video deal with the video now. So the deal with the video is he has a lot of it. Supposedly they have their own VO, which is great. They have a lot more stuff from my understanding. Wait for it. They have a lot more. Here's what I want us to focus on. This is his main video, and they have some other videos. It sounds like some of these videos could be good, but they're old and he's not good in these. So here's what I would suggest. If any of these videos, they say, hey, look, I'm pretty good in these, we can re-edit them for them, but you got to talk to the kid and say, which one of these do you think is a good one? We can re-edit it, but just do this for me. Take this video and split it into 3 different videos. 1, 2, 3, and make those into 3 highlight videos. Right off the bat, we can send those pretty continuously. Then from then on, I don't want any more of those. I only want every touch videos, which they know about because they've used every touch videos before. Here, this is 6 months ago. Here, this is an every touch video. And this is 7 minutes of his every touch, which is like during this game, which is great. This is like a really good video. We can use this video. Then show the kid, because he's very active. We can take this video, this 7-minute one right here, this every touch one, and put it on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, like really quickly. It'd also be great if we can like organize these. Like this is 30. Oh, okay. Like that was a great goal. If that's a really good goal. So we can, don't worry about that too much, but like that's a great goal. We could send that to a college coach, just that clip. That should go on social media. So video-wise, we have a ton to work with already, but if he has more video, we can help him with that. But you can coach him into how to use the video and how we can edit it. And then he's got the ID camps coming up, so he's got to send out the email. When we write his email, it's going to be a little different. We're going to go like this. Dear coach, I do the normal stuff, but his template is going to be a little different because he's going to mention he's from Canada, but he's got to mention I play for in Canada, and he's guest played, I'm pretty sure, for ECNL teams in the United States. I have since been recruited to a few different boarding schools, including BlackRock and Shattuck St. Mary's. Shattuck St. Mary's. And then I want him to say Shattuck St. Mary's. And then I want him to say, do you have a program you prefer or recommend? That's going to be the question, which is normally what we don't ask. Normally we go straight to ID camps. But for them, we have the time. We're going to do that. Then we're going to go recommend. My name, I play in Canada, template. My name is, and then he's going to go, my name is, I play for it in Canada, which I'm told is similar to ECNL level. Sorry, I got to go soon. Which is told, this is really annoying me. Hold on. Put this in this document. Okay. My name is playing Canada, which is told him similar to ECNL level. And I've guest played for ECNL teams in the United States. I have since been recruited to a few different boarding schools in BlackRock. Do you have a program that you prefer or recommend? Recommend to be recruited by your school. Just so you know, the schools are going to say, pick whichever one is best for you. That's just what they do. But if a school has an idea, we'd love to hear from them. And then you're going to go, I've attached my highlight video below. I look forward to keeping you up to date. Now, if we're going to send this template with this question, the email has to go out before April 5th, because no, that's not true. Before April 2nd, because the decision is April 10th for them to decide between BlackRock and Shattuck. Now, on the flip side, so that's number one. On the flip side, my name is, I play for, if they cannot get this out in time and we decide we're going to go to X team, then the email just changes to, I played for, I've since been recruited by, I have chosen, then the difference if after April 2nd, have chosen to attend, then you go, I've attached my video below, and then the question is different. Then the question instead is, are you looking for the class of If so, I would be happy to attend your camp. And then you go, I've attached my video below. Look forward to keep you up to date, and that's it. And the subject line, it depends. The subject line, if you can send it out before April 2nd, would be BlackRock or Shattuck, question mark. Then you go to advice requested, and then you're going to put the normal stuff like name, GPA, level. You can say like ECNL equivalent, and then GPA and his name. Sorry for the typos. Then lastly, if it's after April 2nd, then you're just going to actually say, BlackRock or Shattuck, whichever one we pick, because that's a really big deal. And then you're going to do the normal stuff that you would do, position, grad year, all that stuff. Position, grad year. And you would do the normal stuff. Okay, and the normal order. Name is always last. You fix those. Sorry, I got to run. And that's kind of the situation he is in, which is excellent and exciting. And we can always help you if you need help. But like I said, that's the deal. Okay, talk to you soon. Oh, hello, everybody. I know I'm live here, and I'm also live on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken, and YouTube, and Restream, maybe? I don't know, actually. Where am I? Restream. Sorry, everybody. I was not talking for a bit. I was doing some work. I can't imagine many of you are left here, but maybe you are. What's up? Why do you look like you're not, why you're mad at something? Just curious. 408. That was funny. Does that what my face look like? Hello, hello. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Hi, YouTube. Hi, Skylar. What's up, Krish? What's up, bruh? What's up, Sebastian? Sorry, everybody. I can't imagine. That was very entertaining to watch the last 10 minutes or so. But the next 10 minutes might be entertaining because I am going to be on a Zoom call, and I think you'll like it. Hey, Coach, I'm probably Okay. Instagram. Are there still 8 people here? If there are, I'm gonna try to answer your question. Sorry. I only have about a minute. Then I have another call and the next call I think you'll like. It'll be an interesting one for you, to say the least. Zoom.
Recording in progress.
Okay, what are some motivations for us young goalkeepers? Make sure you do training video. What are some good qualities for a soccer player? Goals and assists, but I need more. Send me video. It's too much. Is transferring as a freshman okay? Yes, transferring as a freshman is okay. Hello, Hilsey. All other things are being equal. Is there a difference between college exposure between ECNL team and a good pro record and a top GA? Top GA would probably be better. Is what I would say. Bisconga. I'm not sure if you're anywhere. No, what's up, dude?
What's up?
We are live, just so you know.
Okay.
Well, don't sound so excited. Sheesh.
No, I thought every time I'm talking to you, we're
Yeah,
always
pretty much always are. So I'm not going to answer you guys who are live. I'm sorry, I'm not answering questions right now. I'm going to be doing a cool thing real quick, Nalu, with the AI system. I want to touch on that briefly. Can we do that real quick?
Yeah. Do you want to go over the coding?
Yeah, I'm going to just show you my email just because what he says is he himself is a really good coder, and makes it very good. Wait a second. But it is complicated, the situation-ish. So, hold on. So I just want to make sure you understand what he's saying so you can get back to him with what he needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let me see here. This is it. Okay. All right. So first thing, just worry about Division One. Your job is to fix everything, but for right now, just worry about Division One. Now, most people don't look up schools by conference. Most people don't know conferences. Yes, the Big Ten, the ACC, but that's about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I understand that.
okay, so here, he went in and manually started to fix it. I basically told him anything with the word conference is wrong, which is partially true, partially not, meaning the problem we have right now with the system, I wouldn't call it a problem, but what we're fixing is we accidentally did 2 conferences in that little tab or whatever. So here, see how we have, he went and fixed it actually. Now everything is much cleaner.
Yeah. No, that's wait. Go back up. Let me just make sure. Pac-12 doesn't exist, but
There you go. Perfect. So that's what your job is. So let's just start with this. What you're going to do is he doesn't know if what is athletic and Atlantic the same thing? Are they 2 different things? So all I really need you to do is in the first response, and what I'll do is I'll copy paste all this actually. Because we don't seem to be able to do on our end, which is something I want to fix, is be able to manually do this. Only he can. So I'm going to ask him, how can I manually fix this in the future? But I'm going to give this to you. And your job is basically to answer these initial questions, which is, which one is correct? Does that make sense, Knowledge?
yeah,
Like
I got it.
AAC versus ACC. So you would just say do this one.
They're 2 different things. Yeah.
Okay, and you can make it a different color. Okay, so that's that. Then the other thing he asked was there are also other conferences that have the word conference in the middle of it, so I don't know how to rename them. So for these, you can just say keep them as they are. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
For reference, for the full list of conferences in alphabetical order, please let me know which one should be renamed. For conferences, there's a full list. Okay, so any of these that you need to be renamed, you'll let them know. Or delete it.
Yeah.
You can literally say delete this one.
Okay.
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 Okay, we can do that later because that shouldn't be too long for you. And you can ask Gemini or any AI and it will tell you what the name is or whatever. So that would answer his question. However, we're then going to respond with how can we manually do this in the future is number 1. And number 2, Nalu, which is kind of the bigger issue at hand, is we need the correct schools and the correct conferences. Okay. Now, for that to happen, this is what you'll need to do eventually. Is I'm going to give you the access to this, and this is where you might need Regine's help, but you'll be in charge. Is you're going to go like this, Regine. Master list. So this is the list of every single school that we have. Okay. So because this is every single school, so let's just say we took women, and let's say you tell me that this school here, Alabama, is no longer in this conference. I'm just saying, for example, what you do is you fix it in this sheet. Once you fixed it in this sheet, I will show you how to upload the sheet to the AI.
Okay, so I fixed it in the sheet before I upload it to you. All right.
Right, and then that's it. And then when we upload it, it will do it correctly, and then we're done.
What if I have an issue with the coach?
Good, you can fix it in here too.
More.
Fix it in here too. You can either manually do it, because that you can manually do on the system itself, but conference one, we can only change in this document. I'm going to ask him if he can make a button so we can just change it manually. But for the time being, for the next 2 weeks, we'll have to change it through this system. Because then what you do is you upload this, and it just uploads it to the system. And if everything matches, it doesn't change anything. But anything that doesn't match, it changes that.
Makes sense.
Okay, that's pretty easy. Okay, you can do that pretty quickly. No, that won't take you too long.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I'll try to get that done by the end of the day. As well, especially the conferences I can get done, and then the other stuff, I'll see if I'd rather get that back to him just because.
Cool. So just draft me a response so I can like help you send it back to him. He's also slow. He's not going to respond right away. Okay. Now the fun part. Do you want to share your screen so we can log into his stuff?
Yeah, and so I wanted to ask you here. I'll share my screen. So I'm all logged in with Carter's account on the AI. Now, do you want? There's a couple I put in, like for instance, like Cornell way at the bottom here. Where is it? Cornell. Cornell. Like I put like. I really enjoyed watching you play. I should not last summer, but
Wait, can you share your screen so I can see it?
Can you see it? I'm sharing.
It does. Mine said it says you're not. Can you try again?
Yeah. All right. Hold on. All right. Can you see it now?
That is very weird. Because I can share my screen still. Okay, hold on. Allow multiple shares. Allow. Let's see. Oh, maybe because I'm still sharing. That's weird. Okay, well I'm gonna stop sharing. I wasn't sharing that. I still don't see yours sharing.